Willow Creek High was a small town school nestled amidst the tranquil, verdant countryside. It was a place where everyone knew everyone, where traditions were cherished, and where the past was held sacred. But beneath the idyllic facade, a dark secret lurked, a secret that had been buried for decades, waiting to be unearthed. It started with a series of strange occurrences. Students began reporting feeling a cold draft in their classrooms, even on the hottest days. Books were inexplicably knocked off shelves. Doors would slam shut without a breeze. And then, the whispers began. Stories of a ghost, a young woman who had tragically lost her life within the school walls. The legend of Sarah, as she was known, had been passed down through generations. It was said that she had been a shy, introverted girl who had been bullied mercilessly by her peers. Driven to despair, she had taken her own life in the abandoned science lab, a room now sealed off and forgotten. Initially, the students dismissed the rumors as mere superstition, but as the strange occurrences continued, a growing sense of unease settled over the school. Some students even claimed to have seen a ghostly figure wandering the halls at night. One evening, a group of friends, curious and a little foolish, decided to explore the abandoned science lab. They had heard that the ghost of Sarah was most active there. As they ventured into the dusty, musty room, a strange chill ran down their spines. The air felt heavy and oppressive, and they could have sworn they heard faint whispers echoing from the shadows. Suddenly, a loud crash erupted from the other side of the room. The friends froze, their hearts pounding in their chests. Slowly, they approached the source of the noise. To their horror, they found a large, heavy beaker lying shattered on the floor. It was as if someone had thrown it with great force. Terrified, they fled the lab, their minds racing. They knew they had seen something extraordinary, something that could not be explained by mere coincidence. Word of their encounter spread like wildfire throughout the school, fueling the rumors of Sarah's haunting. The school administration, initially skeptical, could no longer ignore the growing evidence. They decided to hire a paranormal investigator to investigate the claims. The investigator, a seasoned professional named Dr. Elias, spent several nights at the school, using various instruments to detect any unusual energy or activity. His findings were shocking. He confirmed the presence of a strong, negative energy within the abandoned science lab. According to Dr. Elias, it was the energy of a troubled soul, trapped in a state of torment. He believed it was the ghost of Sarah. The school administration, faced with the undeniable evidence, knew they had to do something. They decided to hold a memorial service for Sarah, hoping to lay her troubled spirit to rest. The ceremony was a solemn affair, attended by students, teachers, and parents. As the final prayers were said, a strange calm seemed to descend upon the school. The strange occurrences ceased, and the ghost of Sarah was said to have finally found peace. Willow Creek High, once haunted by the past, was now a place of healing and reconciliation. I would like to tell you when it started, but I can't. Whatever it is that's happening to me doesn't leave me with much sense of time. The days are like a flurry of snow, mixed up with themselves. A part of me I cannot see is opening, like a flower, like an aperture, like a pit, and something is preparing to crawl out, but I don't know what. I have nothing to go on. I'm scrambling in darkness. All I have are sensations, in the hollows and margins of my mind. It's a whoosh of wind at the base of my spine, the shudder when I walk, the quickening steps of my shadow. When I wake up, it's like returning from a great distance. My body accepts me back reluctantly. My spirit sinks into my flesh as though through a boggy mire, with great resistance. And there's not quite enough room for me anymore, as though another is taking up space. The first thing I do is go to the mirror, a compulsion akin to tonguing a wound. The stranger flickers there for half a second before my mind reflexes and shows me what I expect to see, my own pale face. Immediately, the memory of whatever I saw is expunged, leaving only the question of whether or not I saw anything at all. Does the pupa feel this anxiety when it begins wrapping itself in silk? When the body begins to liquefy, does it issue a silent prayer? An apology? These days, when I enter a crowd, I am frightened for everyone around me. I hurry to be away from them as quickly as possible because whatever this thing is, ready to be born, it's not under my control. I'm barely under my control. I do things without meaning to, drop things, end up in places with no memory of how I got there. When I talk to people, half of what I say makes no sense, and I have to repeat myself slowly, enunciating each word carefully to avoid sounding like a gibbering imbecile. Every day, I have to work harder to hold on to who I am. But every day I remember less of who that is, and the struggle seems less important, the consequences of giving up less severe. I'm writing this down while I can still say it, while I still care enough about you to explain myself and whatever it is I'm about to do. Whatever it is, know that I'm sorry, so very sorry. There is a doctor who wears a red smiling demon mask which covers his whole face. It's a mask you would wear for Halloween, and the managers at the hospital don't really care, because all they care is that the doctors and nurses just do their jobs. So this doctor called Dr. Helrick wears a red demon mask at the hospital, and he treats patients like that all day and night. He even talks to his colleagues by even wearing a red demon mask. It's something that they are all accustomed to now. He is just Dr. Helrick who wears a red demon mask around the hospital. Dr. Helrick is just like any other doctor around the hospital who treats patients and does his best. Patients do become wary of his red demon mask, and you can tell that the patients are wondering about the red demon mask. The patients, though, forget about the red demon mask as they are more worried about fear illness. When Dr. Helrick does a good job, patients hug him and they don't care about his red demon mask. But some patients that Dr. Helrick has saved kind of want to see his real face. They want to see the man and the doctor that saved them. Dr. Helrick, though, doesn't show them his face. There are occasionally some talks among patients, doctors, and nurses about what Dr. Helrick looks like. The only time Dr. Helrick ever takes off his red demon mask is when a dying patient is given more bad news and doesn't want to die. Like Mrs. Olson when she was told that there is nothing else that the doctors can do. She couldn't accept it, and then Dr. Helrick entered the room. He told everyone to get out of Mrs. Olson's room so that he could talk to her. Everyone was outside and Dr. Helrick had his back to them. Everyone saw Dr. Helrick showing his true face to Mrs. Olson by taking off his red demon mask. Then Mrs. Olson accepted her fate when Dr. Helrick told her that she was going to die and only had mere months to live. Then Dr. Helrick put on his red demon mask back on his face and walked off. Everybody was puzzled by this, and whenever a patient was having a hard time dealing with bad news, Dr. Helrick would go up to them and take off his red demon mask and retell the bad news all over again, and they will accept. When a patient didn't want a certain surgeon to operate on her, because this surgeon was really bad and had high death counts, Dr. Helrick took off his red mask and told the patient that crap surgeon will operate on him. The patient accepted it. When angry ghosts returned to cause havoc upon the hospital for their failure to keep them alive, Dr. Helrick would simply take off his mask, and he would tell the ghosts to accept that they are dead, and they do.